digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. My name is Crypto Amaru, joined as always by Nick the Crypto Hitman. Happy New Year's, everybody. What a way to start the year. Green, 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 green. The Bulls are feeling validated. Where are the Bears? We want to hear you on the stream, by the way. I want to get your take, your sentiment. Welcome to the stream, everybody. We cover all crypto-related news, analysis, charts, macros, hopefully a little fun banter along the way. Happy to have you guys joining us as always. We got a great slate of stories for you guys today. The market's looking green. The market's pumping. Why did we just run all the way up to $93,000? And will this pump sustain itself, or are we looking at a bit of a correction here to start the week? Let's see if the 10 a.m. seller rears his ugly head in about 15 minutes from now. But the Venezuela news, that's obviously at top of everyone's mind. We will cover that from a standpoint of how this affects the markets, what it will mean for oil prices, what it will mean for risk assets. What does it mean for the Trump presidency going forward? So a lot to cover with that. Memes are pumping. I'm seeing some AI plays pumping. Is this the meme super cycle that Murat was talking about? Man, there's so much to cover today. Very excited to be here. Happy New Year's, by the way, to you, Nick. Did you have fun on New Year's Eve? I don't know if we've spoken since. Did you get drunk or
Didn't do too much. Didn't do too much. Stayed around the house. We binge watched Stranger Things, and then she packed because she was going to see her friends for a few days. She's still there now, so down in Houston. Her friend lives down there. So I don't mind when she does the girls' trips when it's her friend works for Southwest, so she got a free flight, and then lives there, so she stays with her. I mean, that's a pretty cheap trip. Those are the trips I need her to take while we wait for this Bitcoin and crypto bull market to take off, because we don't want to sell any crypto assets down at these lows.
We'll soon be taking the extravagant, lavish first-class flights, guys. You got to wait, I think, probably till end of 26 before we can afford to waste our money on stupid shit. So I do like the frugal mentality there, Nick. But what were your thoughts when you saw the market running here over the weekend? Surprise, disbelief? What was the initial reaction and emotion when you saw it go down?
I mean, obviously it feels better than red, but we're not really surprised. If you've been tuning into the live show, we've been talking about this. You can see the buy arrow, so we thought a low was in. We've been talking about higher lows since November 21st, so over a month now, talking about, hey, we're grinding, hey, on this sell-off, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and putting in these higher lows was very important to chart structure, but getting above the 300 moving average on the 4-hour and closing above it is the first time since, like, October. For Bitcoin, it's the first time since October 27th. For Ethereum, it's the first time since October 8th, before the liquidity crisis. And we said this was going to cause momentum. And you can see that here. We came above the red moving average here. We retested it perfectly at 89,400. And now we have surged up to 93,000. Now, that doesn't mean we go straight to new all-time highs right now. But this is what we've been talking about. Higher lows and breaking above the moving average will cause momentum and morale shift. And that's exactly what's happened with the $4,000 rally here on Bitcoin over the weekend.
Disbelief, disbelief, disbelief. This is the sentiment I am seeing on the timeline. And it's no surprise given the downtrend that we've been in since October 10th. Everyone's saying bear market, top was in at $126,000, sell everything, we're going to $30,000, 4-year cycle still alive and well, get out, get out, get out. And then bam, new year hits. And we are running and we are off to the races here. So disbelief, I think, is the emotion where the market's feeling right now. My guess is we're going to keep running here, folks. We are going to keep running on Bitcoin. Sure, there'll be some corrections along the way. We're not going to go immediately to $180,000, $200,000. But this, I think, is the start of, let's see, the 2026 bull run, which we said was going to be coming for us and here in the cards throughout this year. So happy to see the sentiment shift. Happy to see the Bears running in retreat. And I'm feeling absolutely glorious today as one of the few bulls left on Twitter, still banging the drum that we're going much, much higher.
Yeah, we're running into overhead resistance here around $94,000. You can see It was the resistance point 3 times previously. It was support over here. So I expect some kind of consolidation here. We're also overbought on the RSI, but we still have some room on the tech. So will there be consolidation, red volatility? Sure, very much possible. But I think this break and close above the 300 moving average is a good indicator of a trend reversal for Bitcoin and telling you that the $80,000 was potentially the low for this 2026 run. I know that for the 4-year cycle is to be disproven. A lot of people want to see new all-time highs. But this trend reversal indicator here is a good start. Now for the bears, like Hexbull, I don't know if he's in here. He's still saying we're bearish as long as we run up to 110,000 and get rejected there. We've been saying since these lows down here at 85, hey, I'll take $110,000 any day of the week, and then we can reevaluate there. And what do you know? We're up $10,000 from that level and heading towards that $110,000 mark. So keep staying tuned here daily to see the updates on the technical analysis. If you want further trades, join us in the Surf DAO, 200,000 Surf or more to get those in real time. We do see Ethereum breaking above the $3,000 mental barrier. And what do you know? Higher lows closing above the 300 moving average on a bullish cross for the first time since October 8th, which was before the liquidity crisis. So big trend reversal indicator there as well. Let's see how things can hold themselves together. There was the news with the capture of the president of Venezuela. The reason I do air quotes is it was a pretty much a illegitimate, proven stolen election for years now, and he was captured. The left is losing their mind, Crypto Amaru, even though Chuck Schumer himself in 2020 made a joke to Trump saying, hey, you still haven't even done the regime change in Venezuela, even though you said so he's so bad. Now we get the regime change here in 2026, and Schumer himself is losing his mind, saying that it's international warfare and against the law. What are your thoughts on Venezuela? How do you think it affects the market? And so far, it seems like crypto is liking this action. Maybe there isn't a one-to-one correlation. A lot of people seeing how the chips fall. But I know Venezuela has a ton of oil, a ton of gold, a ton of silver, and apparently a stockpile of Bitcoin as well.
Couple of thoughts. One, Trump derangement syndrome is absolutely real, guys. We saw it when he ended the war in Gaza. We're seeing it now. Anything Trump does, even if it's something that if a liberal president did it, they'd be cheering, they're against it. So Trump derangement syndrome, sad but real. Just ignore the liberals. They've completely lost the plot. I don't see them winning elections for a long, long time. Not between everything Trump's doing now with the economy looking much better. Foreign policy, he's been spot on. And then with this rampant, flagrant fraud happening on the left. I mean, it's just disgusting. So hopefully the liberals are relegated to being lost in the woods for generations. Let's go J.D. Vance in 2028. Outside of that, look, I think it's not a surprise that the markets have been reacting positively to the news that we've essentially taken over Venezuela. And let's just see how it all plays out from the standpoint of how much sort of control we exert over that country. I do believe we are going to rebuild the sort of oil facilities there, and this is going to have a long-term positive impact on the price of driving oil down. I think you're seeing the oil markets react in the near term. Okay, there's been a bit of I think crude is down to like, I don't know, $60 a barrel, something quite low. And if you go out and you go fill up your tank, we're at like $2.60, and we've been trending down for a long time, now. Anyway, so this is just going to help further. I don't see, the Venezuelan oil coming online anytime soon. It takes a long time to build up these facilities and so on, but it's going to have a positive impact on the price of oil. The biggest thing for me, though, is as we see oil go down, we are going to see inflation also going down. We've already seen that now. I think if you look at Trueflation, we are at like the real-time inflation is like 1.8%. So we are well below 2%, which is the Fed's target. I think between that and still the shaky labor market, the Fed now has further cover to cut rates in January, and I would be very curious to see what the poly market odds are now. Have they gone up in light of the events over the weekend? That would be very interesting to check.
Yeah, here's the true inflation rate. U.S. CPI 1.81%. Trueflation U.S. PCE 1.79%. Inflation still falling off a cliff. Let's see how poly market is reacting to inflation numbers being down and to the Venezuela what do you know? No change continues to grow. 91% no change. When we first looked at this, I think it was like 18 or 15% for this, and it keeps going down. It was also 2%, and now it's less than 1% for a 50-point basis cut. I think the market has this wrong. We saw this happen 3 times in a row. We were right. The market kept going down and down and down, more towards no change or even an interest rate hike, and then what do you know? We get the interest rate cut. So all the data I'm seeing, just the trend is your friend, the inflation rate, what's going on in the economy, what Trump wants himself, Powell's talking. It went from hawkish to neutral to now almost dovish in his last speech. And now we're down to a 10% chance of a cut. I think that is wrong. I think the market is mispricing this. And this is the one category that Pally Market historically has been wrong on. And then people are like, oh, it was right. Well, yeah, like 12 hours before. But what about the month out when you could have got, 10 to 1 odds on your bet? So I don't know about you, but I'm still looking at a 25 basis point cut by January 27th, 2026.
Yeah, they got it wrong last month. This is the same story. The beginning of the month, 30 days out from the cut, the odds were basically, it's not going to happen. No cut. And then as the month progresses on, more data comes out. Maybe you get some Fed minutes coming in. You start to hear some behind-the-scenes discussions, or they're going out doing press conferences, the various Fed governors, and all of a sudden the odds creep back in the favor, and lo and behold, you get the cut. I think this time there's even more evidence for supporting a cut. Really, the main thing that was keeping the hawks sort of together, a no cut, was, well, inflation's still higher than the target. Dude, we're below 2% now, even by your own readings, let alone the true inflation stuff. So inflation's been vanquished, like we said it was going to be. The labor market is still a concern. Rates are still high. They're still higher than your neutral rate, which you want to get to. What are you waiting on? That's it. The game's over, guys. Just wave the white flag and cut the damn rates. So I do think you have enough cover, and I do think the Venezuela thing, maybe not in the near term, affects inflation because it takes a while for lower oil price to sort of trickle in through and filter through the economy to lower prices across the board. But it's trending in the right direction. Positive for markets, positive for risk assets, and just another reason to be bullish on 2026.
Yeah, and talking about 2026, let's look at a couple of performance things that is happening so far for the new year. We do see Pulse Chain here in the past 7 days is green. PLS up 8%. PLSX up 7, Inc up 6.4, and Hex up 15%. A percent a day keeps the banker away. I mean, I don't know about you. Yes, we want moon candles on Pulse Chain and everything else, but if everything continues to go up by about a percent a day for 365 days, that would be a nice 2026 in my estimation. And then, of course, we got Lark over here pulling up the year-to-date performance, and what do you know? The biggest gainers for the year were majority meme coins. We have PLSX making the list at only down 6.43%. That's pretty good for a altcoin in 2025. You got Uni down 4.91%. XMR down 6%. But then look at all these other. Pepe up 63, Stacks up 32, FET's in there, Dog Whiff Hat's in there, Shiba Inu, Doge. So, the meme coins aren't going away, and we talk about this. Meme coins never die because of the type of people that own them and the supply control that they try to get. Now, you don't have the benefit of fundamentals, buys and burns, utilities that make them, withstanding or make them a high risk or low risk to reward ratio, but the cult-like ones seem to survive. Doja survived since the first cycle. Shib is now on its second or third cycle. Floki's on its second or third cycle. And now we have Dog Whiff Hat and Pepe trying to really have another big cycle after making a lot of people a lot of money last year.
Memes are the bellwether. Memes tell you the direction the market's going. They'll be the first to dump when liquidity is drying up, and they'll be the first to run when markets start to get some liquidity back, whether through retail, whether through institutions. So I'm very happy to see Pepe going on this big run. Very happy to see Shib. We have some low cap memes that we love, like Mello and Kai, that are sort of aligned with those narratives. But I'm not surprised, man. I mean, this is the story of the past 2-3 years. Memes are what retail loves. And what's not to love? Price go up, make money. That's all retail really cares about. They're never in for the tech anyway. So happy to see memes do well. I think this bodes very well for the latter half of the year. And look, will there be correction? Will Pepe obviously come down off this big pump here? Sure, I'm sure it will. But you start to see the big caps run on the memes. Then it's going to be some of the smaller ones. Then maybe the new memes launching the shitters, as they say, will start to print those 10 or 100x's. We're not there yet, I don't think. I still think the trenches are pretty brutal with people holding for about half a minute. But we will get to a point in time when even you can find some big runners that are launching on Pump Fund.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing too, to put this in perspective, like a 63% run on Pepe, the thing's still down like 92% off its high. So you have a long way to go. That's what people don't understand. If the market actually flips, it's going to be day after day, week after week. You're going to check into CoinGecko and you're going to see a green number. That's just because Pepe needs to do like a 10x to go to a new all-time high, which means that is like 1,100% gains, 1,000% gains to go to a new all-time high. So there's going to be a lot of green days if the market flips and shifts. And people talking about, is Murad right about a super cycle? Murad, I just saw his updated portfolio. It's the same names. I mean, he's down at between 80 to 98% on those holdings. And he was hailed as a genius, pushed around this ecosystem, given tons of followers, even though prices are red. It didn't matter with just him talking about cult dynamics of meme coins, his portfolio. And he's been very, very, very wrong on the timing of those assets. And he still has a massive following. I think that shows the power of meme coins, but that also shows kind of the disillusion within the ecosystem right now, that the person that was put on a pedestal was more wrong than anybody else in the space.
Well, I need to go back to that sheet because I've seen that sheet, but it's like everything's down 90%. Is that from the all-time highs or when he called the coin or when he bought into the coin? Because I have a feeling
I'm sure
dude
it's from
isn't
the
really
all-time
down
I'm
himself
sure,
very much.
I'm sure it's from the all-time highs. Now, that doesn't mean that
Yeah.
he's down that much on those assets, but you know, at the all-time highs, they're still talking about super cycle 10x's, 20x's, which I guess still could happen, but the timing there for the viewership when he was getting famous was near all-time highs. That correlates with each other. That correlates with our viewership, with retail being around. If the market is green, more people are viewing, more people are following the advice. That's how you get the euphoric blow-off tops, and that's when he really saw his peak, and it just happened to be on assets that had no real fundamental floor to kind of protect prices when Ethereum and Bitcoin took a downturn.
I think if you're looking to invest in memes, you have to ask yourself, are you in it for a 2x, a 3x, maybe a 5x, like you could maybe get on Pepe if it ends up back towards all-time highs again, or are you looking for that quick 5, 10, 50x on a new low-cap meme that's sitting at $100,000? I've always looked at memes like, you're aiming for the 10x. You're shooting for the moon or dust. And who knows, maybe that's not the right approach, but for me it's put in your 500, put in your 1,000 and try to turn it into 50 grand. That's the name of the game. It's not let's put 1,000 into Pepe and turn it into 2,000 in 3 months. That's what Bitcoin, the ETH is for that. Solana, like there's other assets that I think are a little bit more substantive where you can look to take a bit of a lower risk bet on it. Memes, to me, moon or dusk, try to find the ones at 100,000, try to have them run to 5 million, and that's how you end up being famous guy on X, whatever I found the next 100x opportunity. So that to me, by the way, we are hunting in the trenches. I will just add real quick here, we are about to make the first alpha call to the Surf DAO group of 2026. A very promising new project, kind of a hybrid meme vibe, pump fun vibe, casino vibe as well. It's actually has a casino game at the kind of the heart of it. It's a little bit of a DeFi casino element to it. Very cool project, sitting at a $60,000 market cap. So to me, that's like, that's what I love. That's what I look for. Super low cap. Let's run this thing up to 5 mil and let's just absolutely print first call of the year here for the Surf DAO.
Yeah, and if you want to get in that 200,000 surf or more, then join the DAO group on cryptoparadise.net, and you will be eligible to see that call in the private Telegram group. So you still have time. The call has not been made. So go buy 200,000 surf. I don't even know what it is, $500, $600, and get the first alpha call. That probably will make you more than that $500 or $600.
Yeah, I'll give you guys some insights too. So I've been spending a lot of time on X. By the way, give me a follow. Just out there shit posting, having a great time. I managed to connect with a number of different influencers, right? Nice guys, great guys, whatever. The interesting thing I'm seeing is they all have their own private groups, right? Everyone's got a private group. I guess the going rate to join one of these private groups where they're going to make calls similar to we make calls, etc. They'll promote projects. Everyone's playing the same game for the most part. But it looked like between 2 Solana to like 5 Solana just to join the group. Now, it's not like you're buying their native token and you can sell it later or whatever. It's like you're just giving them money and then you get access to this group. Okay, that's fine. I don't know. I think it's a little bit better if the option is I buy a token that has liquidity. That's my money. If things don't go well, if I don't like the calls, if I don't like the personalities, if I don't like this, that, the other, the market shits the bed, I can exit out and hopefully I get my $500 or $1,000 back. The other guys ain't playing that game. The other guys are playing, here, hand me 500, 1,000 bucks. I'll let you join a group, and good luck to you from there. So, you know, we're all playing a similar game, but we're not all doing it exactly the same, guys. Not all of things are equal. So check out the Surf DAO. A lot of other benefits of being there, but I want to shed some light on that because I'm noticing this amongst other influencers in the space.
Yeah, that's what's nice about the Surf token too. Like you said, there's liquidity tied to it. There's fundamentals behind it. There's buy and burns. There's auto reflections where you earn more Surf tokens if other people buy it. And, you know, you have an ecosystem that can work really well. Because when the market's good and there's payment for marketing or sponsorships or logos, or we make a call and just make a lot of money, some of those funds and revenues are being diverted to Surf buybacks and burns. So that's going to be happening and has a massive impact with Pulse chain prices this low. That means Surf prices are low. And if we get any kind of capital from any other chain coming in, it would have a big impact on Surf and the number of tokens taken out of supply forever.
Yeah, great point. And the other thing I'll add before answering Rifa's question and saying shout out to all the people watching the stream. You know, these other influencers, I mean, I'm chatting with them on X and Telegram and stuff, but yeah, I don't know who the hell they are. They're all anonymous dudes hiding behind a PFP on X. It could be some dude in Nigeria who's just looking to scam your money in a second. No offense to any Nigerians watching the stream. It could be a 16-year-old who's gonna, you know, just rug you and scam you in a minute. We're out here. Our faces are here. You can see us. By the way, you can even visit my damn condo down in Tulum. That's how much you know, you can trust Crypto Paradise relative to these other guys. So anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Want to give a shout out to everyone watching the stream, including Martin. Hello, Martin's doing a great job, by the way, manning the Crypto Paradise X account. Being an absolute Chad reply guy. What up, Todd? What up? I see a lot of people on X claiming to do the Wyckoff analysis and the Wyckoff theories and so on, and then you're just like, no, that's not Wyckoff, guys. Get your shit together. So if you guys want actual Wyckoff, I believe Todd was one of the sort of architects behind that approach. Maybe, Nick, you can elucidate further on that, but get the real Wyckoff, not the Fugazi Wyckoff you see on X. Yeah, let's see how Venezuela plays out. I think good. I mean, let me just get to this real quick. For anyone who's marching the streets, oh, shouldn't have done this, really? What about all the poor people who were like, 20,000 people got killed by Maduro in the past couple of years? People are starving in the streets. Babies are dying. And you're telling me let's just leave the status quo. All right, look yourself in the mirror before you get out there with the pitchfork in the streets complaining. Elon Musk is the Illuminati. Elon, I want to dig into this conspiracy theory. I do not know what you mean. I mean, I kind of know what you're getting at, but let's leave that for another day. Rema's back at the desk. Meek Chapo's good morning. And yes, finally getting to your question, Rifa. Are we entering an alt season here in the beginning of 26? What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think when ETH does well and Bitcoin does well, everything catches a bid, but that's not true alt season. And it's the same thing we've been saying for over a year now. Alt season begins when Ethereum goes and closes above $5,000. Gets to a new all-time high, which it hasn't had in 5 years, in my opinion. So, can alts get green candles on the back of Bitcoin and ETH just having strength and trying to go towards new all-time highs? Sure. But true alt season, euphoria, capital flowing into ICOs, pre-sales, new launch tokens, that doesn't come until my opinion of Ethereum above 5,000. And then really you could have BNB go to new highs. But we saw BNB kill it, go to new highs, and there was not much of an alt season on BNB chain itself. And that's just because Ethereum drives more power, has more OGs, has more liquidity bonding, and drives the market more than BNB does currently, and always has been. So $5,000 ETH, and that's when you get a true alt season. But yes, you will see some green candles on the backs of Bitcoin and Ethereum strength.
Yeah, I think we're at the beginning of an alt season. We're not in the heart of the mania of it. but we're perhaps at the very beginning. Let's see if Bitcoin can continue to follow through here, ETH can follow through, grind higher, etc. But this feels like we're at the cusp, the very beginning of an alt season. And let me tell you, I've been here since 2017, next year is 2016. The most money I ever made in the markets was in the beginning of the alt season when people weren't really sure it was an alt season yet. But you happen to get into stuff that was super undervalued. You happen to be able to ride that wave higher, and you happen to get yourself into a couple 100x opportunities, which is what happened last bull run in 2021. So we're looking to replicate that. I think we're at the cusp, we're at the very beginning. Let's see if Bitcoin and ETH can follow through and maintain and sustain this alt season as 2026 progresses. Shout out to Willie. Shout out to Willie. Thank you, my friend. Great show. Community is the asset. And then let's talk a little Yi. This is not the first time he's brought up Yi. Maybe we can pull up the chart on Yi and check it out. I think it's a meme. It's a meme on Ethereum. We like Ethereum. We love Ethereum. We're Ethereum maxis. Going to 12,000 minimum the ETH this cycle, in my opinion. Also Tom Lee's opinion. But man, the outperformance is going to be found on the memes, isn't it? So I'd love to see what Yi is sitting at. Willie, if you don't mind jumping in, why do you like Yi? What makes you bullish on it? Maybe it's community, maybe it's the meme itself.
There's a lot of Yis on ETH, Solana, and everything else. I'm not sure which one it was. Which one is it? It looks like it might be this one, which has done very well, but I don't know much about it. Let's see.
Yeah, I feel like
this is the one that popped up that had the biggest value and biggest liquidity. Yi on ETH, 27.7 million market cap, 1.9 million liquidity. So pretty light on the liquidity, but somebody has supply control because it has seen green candles. You see the launch, big spike, and then it just went into the doldrums like everything else. But as of December 20th, a month and a half ago, has just gone vertical once again with massive gains. So if you can tell us more about what's going on with Yi, or if this is even the real Yi, let us know, as there is a bunch of them, which means you do have to have concerns that you're on the right one, a honeypot, whatever it may be. But this one has been around for quite a while.
That's the one. Billy says that's the one. Yeah, love to see it, man. I'm so glad. I hope you're in gains. I hope you're in big gains from, having bought in not like a day ago. But, if you look at this asset here now, could it run to, 200 mil? Yeah, it absolutely could. Is it likely? I don't know. I mean, I'd have to dig into it more and just understand the community and the people behind it, influencers, narrative, etc. But happy for you. Hopefully you got it early. I mean, so this brings up like sort of a good topic in my mind, which is, do you try to, let's call it, chase the runners? Trying to find that outperformance. Okay, this one's doing great. There's got to be something to it. There's a reason why it's running. Let me get in and try to capture some gains that way. Or do you try to find the low caps that are sort of unknown and haven't run yet? Maybe they're in the doldrums. Maybe they've been bleeding out for the past 6 months or a year or whatever. Maybe still have a community around it. Yeah, I don't know, Nick. What are your thoughts? Do you like to sort of find these ones that are outperforming because they're strong, or you like to try to find ones that are in the shit?
Well, it depends. I think outperformance is good and an easy trend on larger cap assets. It's hard to get yourself to chase assets when they're small caps. This one's getting there. It's 27.7 million, but it's hard to chase verticals on any asset. Much rather small micro caps that many people haven't heard about. So I don't know. It's always tough to do, but you do see the volume parameter is slowing down, which usually is some indicator of a short-term top. You probably see some kind of consolidation, major support here, still at above 20 million market cap, but it's hard to want to chase something like this. But yeah, you also have a bearish divergence here, where price is higher while RSI is weaker. But again, it's trend is your friend on larger assets. We saw that with Zcash and even Zen. But the smaller and smaller you get, it is harder and harder to want to chase, because you need to know who holds those tokens, as with thinner liquidity, the moves can stop in their tracks much faster as well.
Yeah, well, I like what Willie's saying about it, first and foremost. Great community on TG and X, one of the oldest memes on the internet. The goal is to flip Pepe, and was launched 10 days after Pepe. So I think seemingly has a lot going for it from a narrative standpoint, sort of that leaning into, we're mature, we're an older meme, like first meme, one of the first memes on the internet. We were launched around Pepe. When I hear that, it kind of tells me, hey, this one's been around the block. I can sort of trust it. The community didn't die. It didn't go to completely zero. Yeah, it obviously did poorly for a while, as many things have. But now it's seen this resurgence, and it's got that sort of we're mature, we're early days, early OG. I like that a lot. And yeah, I agree. Like, wait for the dip. If you see something like this, you do your research. Oh, sounds great. I like the KOLs who are talking about it. I like the community. I like the narrative. Wait for the dip. After a run like this, you're always going to have a correction. So don't FOMO into the top. Don't FOMO into the green candle there. You always regret that. Just wait for the dip. It always comes. Be patient. But for me personally, like I like finding. Maybe I'm just a greedy son of a bitch. I don't know. But I just like that satisfaction of like finding ye before the next ye before like the masses. That's a great feeling, isn't it? And then it runs up massively. And we've had that a few times, with memes, especially last year, or even going on 2 years ago. So we're in the trenches looking for you guys, and we're looking for the next ye. It's tough. It's tough because I think right now what you're seeing in the trenches, pump fund, people are not holding stuff for more than like an hour. Very hard to see runners, particularly on Solana right now. Maybe Ethereum, that's where you can find them. But yeah, anyway, we'll keep our eyes to the trenches here. Ears to the trenches. Find some runners for you guys. Good work on Yi. Thank you for jumping in, Willie, with the suggestion there on Yi.
Yeah, so we got some fundamental news that is playing out that has been announced over the weekend and really following price of Bitcoin and ETH here. Walmart OnePay adds crypto trading, not direct store payments. So Walmart has an app in which you can pay in their store, whatever, and now they're adding crypto to it in which you can hold it, custodize it, trade it, buy it, earn it, whatever, and then soon you're going to be able to spend that in the store when you wish. This isn't all that new. Walmart has tried to embrace Ethereum and some other things in the past, but what is different about this and a little more bullish is that it is all within the Walmart app. So as people get money in the app or whatever, they find savings, they do have the option, kind of like Cash App, to buy some Bitcoin, buy some ETH, and store it. They can trade it, or when price goes up, then they can swap it for goods. So I don't think this is the end-all, be-all. This guy in this video is like, oh my gosh, hundreds of millions of people go to Walmart. This is so bullish for crypto. I don't think that is the case because most of the people shopping at Walmart don't have extra income to then invest and hold and accumulate more crypto. But I think it is a nice step in the right direction, and the fact that the app has functionality as an investment platform rather than just a spending platform is definitely a positive for crypto and not a negative.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I always like to see these adoption stories. Okay, that company allows payments to be made in Ethereum or Bitcoin or stablecoins. I think that's positive. It's a good step in the right direction. It's not going to move the market in a material manner. I don't think people actually spend crypto anywhere. I tell my story regularly about having spent Bitcoin on a TV back in 2017, the most expensive TV I'll ever buy. A TV that would have been worth $100,000 something is now sitting in my attic. If I just held the Bitcoin, that is now sitting in my attic collecting dust. So I do not spend my crypto on things other than real estate. But yeah, this is a great story. Perhaps not nearly as impactful as the story around Bank of America, which now we're talking about actual money flowing into the asset rather than just poor people buying, burgers at Walmart.
Yeah, and here we got is Bank of America officially begins recommending that clients invest up to 4% of their portfolio in Ethereum and crypto. Now, I don't know if they said Ethereum in their thing. I need to see the true dialogue because this is an Ethereum account. Because more than likely it said Bitcoin, ETH, and other crypto assets. That's probably the professional way they would say it. But why is this important? Number one, Bank of America actually banned Todd, if he's still watching, actually banned one of his accounts back in 2017 when we were taking crypto for the trading course and for the patreon.com/learncrypto private course. And now here they are flip-flopping that and actually endorsing, embracing, and custodizing crypto assets and trying to get their clients to lock up 4% of their portfolio into these very crypto assets in which they ban people for interacting with. And the bigger news here, I think you gave me the information, is Bank of America manages approximately $4.6 trillion in total client balances across its wealth management business as of 2025. The firm holds over $2.6 trillion in total consolidated assets and serves 70 million consumers. So you can do some math on what 4% of $4.6 trillion would be, and then you can do some math on how that would impact the crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto markets. And it would be in a very big way because remember, it's not just 4% correlating to the market cap of these assets, but when you put 4% into these assets, they're going to go up by way more than that market capitalization as well.
That's a great point. I'll tell a little anecdote here about Bank of America where I actually bank. I think last year I had to go into the branch to do some banking and happened to sit down with a Merrill Lynch advisor there. I forget why. He helped me with something. And we were chatting. He said, "Oh, you're in crypto. That's so cool. Like, I want to get into it, but they won't let me trade it. They won't let me own it." This was a year or two ago. So you went from Merrill Lynch employees, which are effectively Bank of America employees, not being able to even own Bitcoin, Ethereum while they work at the bank, to now the bank itself recommending that up to 4% of their clients' portfolio be invested into Bitcoin and Ethereum. An incredible turn of events, an incredible about face. And now you may be wondering, well, why isn't my bag's pumping? Shouldn't we be at 200K already? Like, no, guys, that's not how this stuff works. It's going to take months, years even, could be whole generations before you see, millions upon millions of people feeling comfortable enough to allocate that much into crypto. But this is a trend that's not slowing down. You're going to see other banks do it. I know Fidelity. So, macro story. This is a major bit of news. Not going to show up in the chart yet, but 5 years, 10 years from now, this is the kind of thing. This is how you get to $1 million Bitcoin.
Well, and it takes time for these Bank of America financial advisors to wrap their head around it, get a hold of the client, get the client to sign off on moving the funds, and then actually moving the funds into ETFs or other companies that are crypto based. So it's all a time thing. It's all a learning curve. And what's funny is these same people that hated on it, they work at JP Morgan like, well, Jamie Dimon hates it, so I hate it. Now they're the ones that are going to be trying to sell it to you, and they're not very educated on it. So they got to educate themselves as well. So all I would say is if you want to invest in it, take it from somebody like us who's been in the space for a while, not somebody who's being kind of mandated to do it by their bigger company who hated it just a few years ago.
I was having arguments with people on X about how high can Bitcoin go? How high? I don't think it can get to $1 million. I don't think there aren't enough people that like it. I don't like it. Whatever. I think that sort of misses the bigger picture a little bit. You could argue that Bitcoin may not hit $1 million if we're just relying on the same cohort of true believers in retail and Michael Saylor and a handful of institutions. Okay, sure. Maybe it won't hit $1 million if nothing changes, if we don't get any further adoption. But this Bank of America story and the Fidelity one and JP Morgan and the 401k money that's going to be coming in, that's the kind of macro event that allows the next 5 million, 10 million, 20 million wealthy investors, right? I'm not talking about everyday Joes investing $1,000. I'm talking about guys that have hundreds of thousands in their retirement accounts, millions in their retirement accounts, maybe like your parents, for example. You get those folks to come in, probably passively, probably through an advisor, or maybe even through a 401k where they don't even actually know what the hell they're investing in. That's how you get to $1 million over the next 10 years, guys. So don't sleep on this story. It won't show up in the chart yet, but very bullish if you're long crypto and long Bitcoin like we are.
We got Rifa Crypto in here, says, hey, sir, what's the biggest risk people underestimate during the alt season? I mean, there's a lot of risks because there's going to be scams, there's going to be frauds, there's going to be honeypots, there's going to be all kinds of things during alt season. Also, it moves very quickly. And you can be in the right sector, but in the wrong asset, and watch a bunch of assets around you go up 20 and 100x, and yours does a 2x, or in the worst case scenario, rug pulls. So I think the biggest risk in alt season is being able to weed through the noise and get into some assets that have gains. And also, if you're in a pretty good asset, and just because it's not running 100x, but maybe it's doing a slow grind of 2, 3, 4x, be careful on trying to over-rotate and chase shiny objects, because that's when you start getting some wins going, and then you chase the shiny object you don't know much about. You go against your theory and your thesis, and then that's the one that's a rug pull, and you lose all those gains, and you got to rebuild again. We've been there. We've done that, and that's the hardest thing in alt season is knowing when to call it quits, when is a good time to rotate for a new shiny object, and when it's good just stay put in the conviction play that you have and be happy with the 5 or 10x rather than trying to chase a hoping for a 50x.
Yeah, round tripping your bags. That's really the biggest thing, man. And we've all done that. We've all fell victim to that. Knowing when to sell, how much to sell, it's very, very hard. Even someone like ourselves who've been in this space for ages, it's very, very hard, especially if you're trying to do it like on the fly, seat of the pants. You had no strategy, you had no thought or foresight going into the trade, and you're trying to make decisions on the fly. That's how you end up round tripping. So I think it makes sense to have a strategy and a plan going into every trade and say, okay, I'm buying into this market cap, $100,000 market cap. I'm going to take profits at 200. I'm going to take profits at 4, 5, a million. Maybe I'm going to keep a moon bag. I'm not going to sell everything. But, I have a strategy, I have a plan. Okay, when it hits this target, I am taking profit and stick to the plan. And stick to the plan. The FOMO takes over, the emotion, the greed takes over. And sometimes you say, oh, it's going to go higher. Forget the plan. No, stick to the plan. Profits are profits. Profits are your friends. And then the second point of that is, what do you rotate your profits into? That's also a big challenge. And I'm sort of on the mindset that you don't want to just rotate it all into the next meme. Okay, you made $1,000 here. You turned 100 into 1,000. Now you got 1,000. Just full port that into the next meme and hope for the back at the. You basically you won at blackjack and now you're going back to the casino and you're going all in again on the next hand. Eventually your luck's gonna run out and you lose everything. So take some of the gains, move it off into Ethereum, move it into Solana if you think the bull run's got legs behind it and still got room to run. Move it into Bitcoin or stable coins. Nothing wrong with stabling it and waiting. So yeah, I mean, look, this is not easy stuff. I've gotten it wrong countless times, but have a plan, stick to it, and don't just rotate your full bag to the next thing. Move something into maybe some more stable assets like Bitcoin, ETH, or Solana.
Yeah, and I think the reason too, I don't know about you, but in Crypto Paradise, but really probably in myself, round trip some bags because we have a moral and ethic compass. There's some of these KOLs who get paid for marketing and they just sell it all immediately, and then you get a bad name in the ecosystem. And maybe that bad name is worth the short-term gains, but there's been plenty of assets that we help, we ride, they go up 5x, 10x, 20x, and are barely selling or very much slow selling because you trust the team. You want to be ethical with the tokens they've given you. You've made the call to the private group, so you want the community to be able to capture some profits without dumping on your community. And I think in the past, that kind of moral and ethical compass has cost myself a lot of money in the face of wanting to support a team and support our community. And then sometimes they either get hacked or something happens and end up round tripping it that way as well, which is never fun. And I'm not saying, oh, woe's me and Crypto Amaru because we're ethical trying to make you win. I'm just saying that is the fact of the matter. Is we've had many assets, we call out 100K, they go to 10 million. And instead of selling the whole bag, like if I didn't know the team members or I didn't have a private group, I would. We choose not to do so to try to, help benefit everybody else in the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because like you said, you want to help and you want to do right by folks, but you also got to make profits, and you also, there's risks to these things. Like, how many times have we been involved in a project that's seemingly going great, but it's not as if like everyone's decided to sell, but like a hack or an exit scam or whatever, that's happened a bunch of times too. So, from our own standpoint, I think that's the mindset, is try to take profits on the way up. Obviously, respectfully, don't, if you have a big bag, don't just dump it in one sell. Do these things respectfully. But yeah, you got to take profits because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The teams, they're hard to trust. The market's sometimes hard to trust. Last thing you want is round tripping, as Roan's talking about here. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, Nick didn't necessarily mean round tripping when he made his initial comment. But yeah, you make 5x. Chase gains, and then that one rugs. Yeah, man, that's also, there's risks all around. So, yeah, again, I think it makes sense to, if you did a 5x, you have a couple thousand or $5,000 to play with, put half of that off into Solana, Bitcoin, or Ethereum if you think the bull market's got legs. Don't go back to the casino with the full amount. You'll eventually lose it all, sadly enough. That's usually how it works. So, yeah, a little word of the wise, folks hear from folks who've round tripped plenty of stuff.
We got NJ Dub in the house. We'll take a look at that riff comment in a second. It says the December business ISM came in lower at 47.9. I don't think Bitcoin and ETH care though. Well, that's nothing new. The ISM has been on a historical run when it comes to being below 50 for the longest amount of time in history ever. And that kind of goes with the thesis that the normal 4-year business cycle, of which Bitcoin happened to have a structured 4-year halving cycle around that business cycle, has changed due to COVID and the refinancing of the debt, making it a 5 or even a 6-year business cycle. We'll have to see. So not surprising to see that ISM still below 50, but like you said, it is down a little bit from November, so kind of trending in the wrong direction. But we are having slow expansion here. ISM was as low as like 42. It's up to 48 now. Still not above that 50 mark, which is very important. And we've talked about this in the past. If ISM can just get back to the 2013 high of like 55 or whatever it was, Bitcoin probably hits new all-time highs, expands to 150 to 180,000. But if we actually have an expanding ISM getting into the 60s, that's where you get Bitcoin 244,000, Bitcoin 250,000. Nonetheless, both of those scenarios mean that ISM in the business cycle go higher for longer, no longer a 4-year cycle, which should materially impact the way Bitcoin and Ethereum treat the 4-year cycle as well. And that would be, it doesn't exist anymore. It was always about the ISM, not about Bitcoin halving, and that was just the cherry on top in the past cycles.
This is why the next Fed chair is so important. And the press conferences that the chair gives is so important. And the decisions that the Fed as a governing body make is so important, because they are the ones who essentially can instill further confidence in the business community and the companies that make hiring decisions and investment decisions. Right? That's what the ISM sort of measures, right? Hiring, business activity, investments, or lack thereof. What spurs that on? Well, Fed policy and the confidence that the Fed is going to do what they can to provide an accommodative environment for these businesses to operate in. And thus far, the Fed hasn't done that. Chairman Powell goes out and he very begrudgingly cuts rates and then spends half the time talking about how they're still worried about inflation, and there was a bunch of dissenters saying inflation, inflation, inflation. And when that's the environment, of course, businesses aren't going to run out and hire because they're not going to feel confident to do that. So Trump, if you're listening, you better nominate a known dove to the new head of the Fed here. I'm sure that he will. We need to instill confidence in the business community. We need to get rates lower. We need QE to start. And once all those things line up, that's when you start to see the ISM rising again and risk assets rising again.
We see Willie Blong over here says, did you guys notice how ETH gas fees never spiked up super high, even with the meme action in the last few days? LFG ETH, the upgrade worked. Yeah, a couple things here. Number one, they have been doing multiple upgrades since the last real retail season, which is helping cost of transactions, the number of transactions, and everything else throughput on Ethereum, which means it can scale better. It also has other layer 2s to support that, but those are now burning ETH as fees as well. But I will say, even though price appreciation is up, doesn't mean usage or clogging on the chain is occurring, because retail market is still not here. Although there's been a lot of dev activity and smart contracts being built, retail activity on chain is still not here. So we'll see what happens when the next big retail season happens. We think it's in 2026. ETH prices on their fees will rise, but I don't think they get to the enormous levels unless we have a scenario in which retail is literally doubles or triples the last bull market. I don't think we get the scenario where we have $100 ETH fees, which is a good thing. But again, I think you are half right here. And yes, prices are going up. We're not seeing ETH fees spike, and the new upgrades help with that. But the flip side of the coin is we really haven't seen a retail or a new flow of cash coming into ETH or network activity occurring either.
Yeah, I love this conversation. I'm a massive ETH maxi, as you guys may know. I think you're going to see two trends coming to fruition vis-a-vis ETH and vis-a-vis Solana. First of all, ETH is not slowing down these upgrades. There is another upgrade coming in 2026, actually two. The next one is called Glamsterdam. What a great name, Glamsterdam. And then there's another one coming down the line, I think, towards the end of the year. Both are going to continue to make ETH more faster, more scalable. And then the next big thing is more privacy, right? So, in terms of ETH's evolution, I think we are getting to a place where there is no other chain that can truly compete with it, except for Solana and except for retail on Solana. That's the two trends, right? ETH maturing, institutions are loving it. You still have a lot of whales on there, tons of DeFi, tons of stable coins. That trend isn't slowing down. And then on Solana, You got the degen stuff. You got pump fun. You got memes, and guess what? That's not slowing down either. I mean, look at the charts over the weekend. So Solana's, I think, going to continue to capture retail, even if ETH fees get super low. You're not going to see the young guys, the anonymous accounts on Twitter who are 22 years old, who got into Solana because their buddy in college told them that they made a bunch of money on pump fund. They're not going to all of a sudden get a Coinbase account, get a bunch of money for ETH, and go into ETH. They're on Solana now, guys. Just like the ETH whales who made a bunch of money in ETH from back in 2016, 2017, we're not really running over to be on Solana. And so this is the sort of the trajectory, I think, of the two chains. I think they'll both end up doing very well. I think ETH is going to end up outperforming over the long term. But Solana is the retail chain. ETH is the more serious institutional chain. I don't see anyone else really out competing. Maybe we see B&B moments of outperformance. But these L2s, these random L1s, how are you going to beat Ethereum at this point? It's not possible.
Well, and a lot of viewers are like, well, why are you guys focusing on Ethereum so much right here, right now? Why aren't we talking about other altcoins? Because we're looking at where the market is now. And the risk-reward play, and we've been saying it since the lows, is Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin. And we need $5,000 Ethereum before we really get excited about other chains and other assets. That doesn't mean we're not going to have calls, alpha group calls, get some insight to a new project and find some gains. Just means we're not going to be calling a new token every day like we have in past cycles until we really get the market structure that allows that. And that comes from liquidity, demand, price action, etc. So right now we're really focusing on what are the macros for Bitcoin and ETH. Is it a bear market? Is it a bull market? And that's why our conversation has been about that. And that's where we're going to be our directive until we really get follow through and the market sentiment starts to shift. We are doing an alpha call for the Surf DAO group. So get 200,000 Surf. We have an alpha call. The first one in 2026 will be coming out today or tomorrow. And that is because the market dynamics are getting a little better. You know, Ethereum's up $1,000 off the low. Bitcoin's up $10,000 off the low. And that allows for some alphas, for some insights, and hopefully some gains to come. So talking about Ethereum and what is going on here, strategic ETH reserve entities, companies like SharpLink Gaming and Bitminer, along with the Ethereum spot ETF reserves, now hold 10.74% of the Ethereum supply, worth $40 billion. And this is what you're talking about, the institutional side of ETH that is going to drive demand and price before the retail really gets in. Because this seems like a crazy number here. But what if I told you that just SharpLink Gaming and Bitminer alone have a goal of owning 10% by themselves, not including the spot ETF or any other ETH strategic reserve companies such as Coinbase and others. So there is still a lot more ETH that needs to be scooped up off the open market, whether it's buys or taken from the inflations and compounded into the balance sheets than this number even here. So I would not be surprised if by the end of 2026, if we're right and there is a bull market, that somewhere closer to 20 or 22% of the total ETH supply is in the hand of Ethereum strategic reserve companies and in the hand of Ethereum spot ETF investors.
I think we're probably looking at $12,000 ETH by the end of this year. I'm calling that now. I'm calling $12,000 ETH. It feels conservative. It feels like a reasonable call. I don't like doing these crazy calls. I know Nick's going to say, oh, you're being bearish. It's going to be 22,000.
But again, guys, that's the
22,000 more than anybody. But
right.
I think 12,000 seems a reasonable price target by the end of the year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. Anything over 10, I think, is good. Remember, when we were down to 1,500 ETH, people were begging for 4,000, and we went to 4,800, nearly going to a new all-time high, because I don't count that wick as a new all-time high. All right? The new all-time high for ETH hasn't happened in 5 or 6 years now, and you need to get to 5,000 ETH. And, that seemed like a fallacy when we were at 1,500. People were begging for 4. And now people are saying we're in a bear market. The 4-year halving cyclists say, hey, we'll get a relief rally to like 4,000, and then we're going to go down to 1,200. So anything above 10 makes a lot of sense. But I will say, if you believe that Bitcoin goes new all-time highs, I think the ratio of ETH to Bitcoin keeps trending in the direction of ETH outperformance, and you're looking for 10, 12, 16, $22,000 ETH, depending on where Bitcoin tops out this cycle. If we are right, ISM expansion, Bitcoin 5-year cycle, not 4-year cycle, Ethereum catches up in the ratio. Above 10,000 seems like a no-brainer. And imagine what that does for retail investment, new adoption, and for your altcoins.
People forget that ETH went from $90 to $4,800 in the last bull run. Okay? Now, do I see it doing those kind of multiples this time around? Probably not, from 1,500 to God knows what. No, probably not quite those kind of multiples. But if we're talking, basically it's less than a 10x from the quote bottom of whatever is 1,400 to 12,000. I think that's perfectly reasonable. That would mean Ethereum's market cap would be around 1.2 trillion or something like that. So still less than Microsoft, which is I think the sort of the best comparison in terms of like a Web 2.0 company, the operating system of Web 2.0, and then you compare that to ETH, Web operating system Web 3.0. I like that comparison. Microsoft's at a $3 trillion market cap presently. By the way, one other thing that when I see people on X were arguing about market caps, arguing about this, that, price performance, remember, the market caps of all of the companies and the assets are going to be higher in the next year, unless we have some crazy black swan or whatever. Everything goes higher over time, guys. The dollar goes down, assets, good companies go higher. So Microsoft by then might be 5 trillion. Nvidia might be 6 or 7. Gold might be 40. Silver might be $6 trillion. And Ethereum will be there at like 1.5 trillion. Completely within the realm of possibility, guys. Look at the charts. Look at the price performance of these assets over a 10, 15-year period. Higher, 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 higher. What's going to stop it now? I don't think anything. So stay bullish. Stay bullish. I love this comment from Roan here. Yeah, the ETH staking queue is essentially empty. To exit, excuse me, the exit queue, is empty. The entry queue is like 30 days, and the exit queue is like 3 days, and there's barely anyone trying to leave, bunch trying to come in. Very, very bullish for ETH. Very bullish.
I think that's going to be a trend because, number one, all the weak hands, everybody who wanted to get out of ETH has kind of done that. I'm sure you see that exit queue pick up, but that's probably going to be at higher prices. They want to see ETH at 4,000, 5,000, and then maybe people are like, all right, I still believe this is a dead cat bounce. I'm going to exit, but it's going to be on a higher rally. Meanwhile, the entry queue continues to grow because Bitminer is doing a very philosophical approach to it. Sharply Gaming is just going all in on staking because they have Joe Lubin, they have the inner workings, they have the devs, they trust what they're doing, that they're not going to get screwed. Thomas Lee, not as much, and they're taking more of an institutional approach where they are allowed to buy a certain amount of ETH per week, and they're allowed to stake a certain amount of ETH per week. So they're slowly adding to their entry queues, and that's who's really building up that entry staking position. As they continue to buy more ETH, then a percentage of that gets delegated to staking, and then there's a delay on that actually getting on chain. So I think this trend continues until we get much higher prices in ETH, and then maybe we'll get another slew of OGs looking to exit their staking queues.
Yeah, a couple of things happened, I think, recently to impact the staking queues. One, a big institutional sort of infrastructure provider for staking called Kiln auto-unstaked everyone. I was in that, actually, and they auto-unstaked because there was one of their other products got compromised or something, so they just out of abundance of caution were auto-unstaking like millions and millions and millions of ETH that they were staking on behalf of people, right? So that happened about a month or two ago. But then, the biggest thing is just Tom Lee. I mean, this guy's buying so much Ethereum and then staking a bunch of it, and so that's impacting the queue going in, which is great to see. So, I mean, if you're looking for an asset that has tremendous upside, huge future potential, the core of Web3, really the core of Web3, and earns you yield, right? We're talking about staking, earns you 3% or so yield. I mean, what other asset can do? And its inflation rate is less than Bitcoin, and it's almost deflationary. I think will be deflationary, hopefully, once we see more market activity, more burns happening. What other asset provides this? This is just craziness. This is just craziness. You know what else provides it? Actually, now I think about it, at a much smaller market cap. Surf token. You can get your 200,000 surf tokens for $350. That was wow. Oh my God. Think about when the Surf DAO and the Surf token first launched. I think it was $7,000 to enter the DAO.
At highs, at the all-time highs, probably.
Yeah. So you're looking for a discount.
When it launched, it was probably like $36, and then we went from 10K to 3.6 million on the back of our progress, the hype of the launch. Plus, Pulse Chain was doing well. Pulse Chain was up 6x higher than it is now. Got to 3.6 million while burning supply, and so that's the thing, guys. That number probably doesn't change as far as how many surf you need. So if we go to 2 million, it's going to cost you like $4,000 to get in. We go to 5 million, new all-time highs. It can cost you like $10,000 to get in. And those OG members are the ones who are incentivized to stay because, they got in there for $500. You can do it right now. So I would recommend doing it. Also, while you buy 200,000 surf, check it in a week from now. I bet you have more than 200,000 surf in there because that's the reflexivity of the token economics, along with a larger percentage of the total supply because there's tokens being burnt. And we're giving an alpha call now. That doesn't mean that, hey, Crypto Paradise is going to be buying and burning a lot of surf. But what it means is maybe there's a marketing deal going on. Maybe if the project does well, maybe we can take some profits off those tokens. And maybe those will get not only bridged to Pulse Chain, but bought and burned utilizing the surf token as that mechanism to deploy those funds. So those are all a lot of maybes. But usually maybes mean reality. We just don't like to say things black and white here on the channel.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen if the last bull run was any indication. Because we had a similar setup. In the last bull run, you had to own a token to enter a similar group, right? And I remember there came a time when the bull market was raging so hard and asset valuations were so high, people were paying like $30,000 to enter this group. Buying the token, that is, right? Buying this token, spent 30 grand or even more to get in, and probably did well for a couple months. And then, of course, that's when the kind of the bull market ends and it gets bearish, and we all end up losing money in the latter half of the bull run. Hopefully not this time. But my point is this. There's going to come a time when people are paying enormous sums to enter these private groups. I don't know if we get to those levels. I don't know exactly what the future holds. But if this is a bull market, and I believe we are in the start of the bull market, to enter these groups, it's going to start to cost a lot of money. So not financial advice. Do whatever you want. My hope is that this alpha call that we make, first one of the year, does very well for everybody, get some profits locked in, allows you to invest in some other things, get some attention back on Surf Token. It can really be that wonderful self-fulfilling prophecy. So we'll have to see. We think it's a nice project, a gem, as it were. 60,000 market cap presently. So enormously, very tiny, I should say. Very, very tiny call coming here to the Dow. So looking forward to that. Any other topics on the docket for today here, Nick?
I think that's it. We've been at over an hour. Let's wrap this up so we can get in some Telegram groups, maybe get that alpha call made here in a little bit. Give you guys some time to go buy 200,000 surf if you want to do that. And we'll be here again tomorrow live. But keep following the feed on YouTube and Twitter. Shorts are going out. Content is going out. Interactions are occurring. We continue to stay active, keep getting the community back active, because we notice, hey, we have these numbers, but not everybody's checked in. I'm seeing some names that checked out, but a little bit of green. Everybody wants to come back, and hopefully we can get you on some early runners. And it's all about winning more than you're losing. It's not about getting 100x on the first call. It's about, hey, how do we go from this bearish sentiment to let's make $100, then let's make 500, then let's only lose 50, then let's make 1,000. Let's start to build the portfolio back up, because it's been a doldrum for everybody. Whether you're doing losing trades, had to pull money out for taxes, had to pull money out for income, you're in the wrong coins, it doesn't matter. Everybody's portfolio is probably down, and we need to start building that back up if we're right and the bull market's still on.
Mine is battered and bruised, but luckily I don't look at my portfolio in terms of what the price is now. I just project out 5 years from now, and I'm like, my God, I'm so pre-rich, this is insane. So here's to the pre-rich guys. We got a great comment from Willie. How do you buy the tokens, the surf tokens, and get added to the Dow? It's a very simple process. First of all, surf is on Pulse Chain, so you got to bridge some funds. I think you're a Pulse Chain guy. Maybe you're not. But anyway, bridge some funds over through either Liberty Swap, which goes from any chain over to Pulse Chain, or you can do the native bridge on the pulsechain.com website. Anyway, bridge some funds over, find the contract address, and it's just like using any other DEX, Uniswap. I think they have something called PulseX, which is like the Uniswap over there. Very simple. Press the buy, boom. You want your slippage to be 6%. That's the only thing because of the token tax. But and then once you have the tokens, go to the website. You just connect your wallet to the D app there. It reads the amount of tokens that you got, and then you can automatically enter the gated Telegram group there. Did I miss anything? Oh, we lost Nick. I guess he ran out to buy more surf tokens. He just got so much FOMO. But I just kidding around. He already has plenty. Thank you for the question, Willie. We hope to see you in the Dow group. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's stream. And we'll be back tomorrow with another one.